All right, so here we are. We've got second to last race of the solo season set up behind me here, and we are doing Nurburg, 2 laps. So let's see what we've got here. So here's my car. I went with a pretty stock car setup, I think. I've got 40, 40, 140, 60 start speed, very kind of, not terribly fast. Nürburgring's not a fast track, and I've tried to run fast and just haven't had good luck. Lots of wear and a ton more skill than I normally take because I want to use that to bid for pole and not give up wear. And actually, there's my pole bid. I ended up bidding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So let's see how that worked out after all the other cars bid. So these guys bid 0 here, down here. Raikkonen and Alonso. Alonso beat him with the die roll, and then Fittipaldi and Stewart did not end up very high in the bid, and Mansell and Hunt and Rindt ended up tied, and I ended up third. So that ended up being a pretty good pole bid there for me. And then you can see that Vettel and Fangio beat Vettel out for pole. So I'm going to go ahead and reset this grid up and do some turns, and I'm going to try and just do video commentary as things get interesting and stitch it all together and try and make something less than 5 hours of video. So we're off. All right, so here we are. We're a third of the way through lap 1, most of us, and you can see that Vettel and Alonso Vettel and Fangio are still up front there. Vettel with the white trim, Fangio with the silver trim. Obviously, Fangio important for the season championship here, as he's only a couple points down from me. So Vettel got the jump off of him off of the start, but so that's why he's inside now, and they're even there. Rindt beat me off the line easily, and he's got himself there. Alonso and Stewart came up fast with their huge start speeds, and pulled even with me, and then they managed to beat me through the first couple corners here. But I'm right behind them, and I'm doing okay on wear. I've got 12 wear left, which is 2 more than Alonso and 5 more than Stewart, so I'm okay with that. Of note, Fittipaldi spent 6 wear with his bid and in the first 2 corners, and he now only has 4 wear left for the rest of the race, so not sure how well that's going to go. Raikkonen's not too far back here, all the way in the back. So maybe he'll prove me wrong and figure out how to run this race from the back, because I certainly can't. So I'm okay with my position so far. Hopefully this next corner, hairpin coming down here is a crucial one. And then when the cars pass this checkpoint down here that I've got marked with a little exit pitting marker, that's when we'll be a third of the way through the entire race. So we'll catch up again in a couple turns. So here we are, we're a third of the way through the race. You can see that our leaders, still Vettel, a couple spaces on Fangio, and Rindt has spent some wear to catch up into that pack as well. They're all fully past that marker and into their third phases all. Behind them, Jackie Stewart, who's holding on despite his 5 wear. There's a lot of cars here with not a ton of wear left on them. Although Fangio's got 8 still up front here, which is good for him. Vettel 4 and Rindt 5. But right here, Mansell's got 12 wear on him, which is good, and he's been using that to power through. And Alonso has gone into kind of preservation mode in his use strategy and is got 9 left. I'm been knife fighting in here, and I've got 10 wear left as I got stuffed outside there. But I had a feeling something was gonna happen. And then next year we've got Fittipaldi, who's down to 4 wear and basically is in trouble on his strategy. And then next to him is Hunt, who has 9 wear, so he's also in preservation mode in his use strategy. And then again, lurking not far back is Raikkonen, who just spent his first wear, so he's got 11 left. And so here we are, a third of the way through the second to last race in the series. Just as a quick reminder, I'm leading Stewart by a couple points, so if the race ended now, Stewart would jump back in front of me. But up here, Vettel and Fangio are also still in the mix, and they would be in line to get a lot of points. But will they be able to hold on to those spots? So this is going to be this is shaping up to be really interesting here, and we'll do another update in a couple turns. So here we are, halfway through the race. Vettel has completed lap 1 of 2. Fangio and Rindt and Mansell are, probably going to start lap 2 officially next move there in order. Stewart here sitting 5th in the corner, and I'm here. So the good news for me is that back here, I was able to out-accelerate Hunt coming through here because I came into this at 100, ended up next to him here, and he was only going 80, so I got in front of him down this straight. I'm sorry, Alonso is who I beat out through there. And then coming into this corner, I decided to go 2-wear into the start of the corner and gapped Alonso there. Alonso held up short, and the back of the pack is kind of caught up with him. As you can see, Raikkonen has made up some ground on the back of the pack as well down the straight. He actually hit 180 down this section here. So that's kind of the current situation. I have 8 wear left. I'll probably use 1 or so here in this corner, and then we'll have 7 for the last lap, which is kind of was my plan. And then the leaders, Vettel's got 1, Fangio's got 7 in second there, and Rindt only has 3, Mansell's got 8, and Stewart, most importantly, has 4. So really, that's the guy I want to try and stay in front of, although if Fangio catches and passes Vettel, that'll be really good for his championship chances. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And obviously, if Vettel can hold on, that would be great for him staying in the running, although with only the 1 wear, I give him not a big chance of that. So interesting final lap coming up. Catch up with you soon. All right, so we're 2/3 of the way through the race here, a third of the way through lap 2. Fangio passed Vettel coming out of this corner here. Spent some getting into there, and is continuing to stay out in front. He's got 3 wear left, which puts him 2 wear in front of Vettel, and so you would have to think that that lead will hold up. But so he's got some pursuers. Jackie Stewart has done a good job spending some wear to push up ahead, even with Mansell, but Stewart's down to 1 wear now. So he's only got the 1 wear left. He's next to Mansell, who's still got 6. And Rindt is right behind them, and he's got 3. Those cars have kind of stocked me up these last two corners. I got stuck behind Stewart here a couple turns ago. Knew I wasn't going to be able to get past him here, so I just went 60 for a wear there, which means I will be able to go up to 80 because I'm actually offline because I've been forced into that outside line there. So, and then the pack has kind of tightened up a little bit. Fittipaldi's down to one wear, which, given that he had 3 at this position a lap ago, isn't bad. Alonso and Hunt are running even, although Alonso's got 8 wear to Hunt, or 7 wear to Hunt's 5, and Alonso's also got a stack of skill chips, including a -3. And then Raikkonen back there, not too far out, still has 9 wear and still hasn't really actually pushed the go button. Although I think if he doesn't spend wear in this next corner, he will. So here we go. We got 2/3 of a lap left in the second to last race of the season. So here we are, 2/3 of the way through the last lap here. So not much of the race left. Near the end, Fangio still has the lead, but he just broke his Excel a couple turns ago, down to 20. And I'm expecting him to probably test it again here. And we'll see if he survives that. Vettel now is closing up on him, has 1 wear left right behind him. And here comes Mansell, who's got 3 wear left. And then in the back here, we've got, just next row back, we've got Rindt with 3 and Stewart with 1. And I've got 2 left right there. So it'll be interesting to see if I can close down that gap. And then we've got the rest of the races back there. Raikkonen still got 5 wear. It'll be a dramatic last bit of this race. See you later. So only 2 turns later, and really interesting. Actually, the last turn was really interesting. Raikkonen actually got up there next to me, in part because he went 180 and got 2 slips off of Alonso. He spends 2 wear through this corner, force passes Alonso, and ends up passing all 3 of those cars to get next to me. We both went through the corner at 100 here, which wasn't too exciting, but we're right behind Stewart now. Up front, Fangio did make his top speed test this turn, so he doesn't, he stays alive. And Mansell, however, breaks his top speed as he comes down here. He probably won't need it again, but it cost him a space. But he still has 3 wear. So again, it's going to be another interesting couple turns here. Can I get past Stewart? Is Fangio going to hold on for the lead? Is Raikkonen making a big move here? He's still got 3 wear left himself. Catch up in a couple turns. And another 2 turns and more drama. Up front, Vettel decides to chance a corner and spins it, which could give Mansell second, and Fangio is definitely gone at that point. That was probably an opportunity for Vettel actually to try and outdrag Fangio for the checkered flag there, but the spin. Back here, interesting turn because Rindt pulls up short, sits right there at 80. He actually tested brakes to do that, saved his 2 wear, and blocked up the corner. The next 3 cars, Raikkonen, Stewart, and I, all were right next to each other. I was able to apply 120, and mostly because I didn't have the decel. So I moved and actually stayed at 120 around there and into here, which was, I thought, a great move, but for my last 2 wear. Stewart moved next and spent only 1 wear to get there because that's all he had left. Raikkonen spent 2 wear, decided not to slow down, decided to pass, and went straight through Rindt for his second naked force pass in the last maybe 3 turns. And now he's up into 4th, maybe with a chance to overtake Vettel for 3rd. So a couple interesting things. I get past Stewart, Raikkonen gets past everybody.
Fangio looks like he's got the win in the bag. We'll see how this finishes up. Couple turns. I'll talk to you again. So the race is over. Fangio, ran away with the win at the end there after he made that top speed roll down here. He was pretty much gone. Mansell ends up passing Vettel in the final corner after Vettel's spin, and Mansell had a last wire to spend in there. And then in the back here, or in the next group, Rindt ends up repassing Raikkonen because he had a wear to spend in this last corner. And Raikkonen's damaged top speed did not allow him to blow past back into fourth. And then I got outpicked by Fittipaldi because Fittipaldi ended up lining up for a slip. I wasn't able to, and I also missed my my rolls. So I end up where you see me, ironically, right next to Jackie Stewart. And every car finished the race, which is not something we've been doing a lot of. And so if we look at the standings now, this is probably a terrible way to do this, but I am still in the lead, but only by 2 points, as Fangio wins his 4th race on the season, and is now only 2 points behind me. Jackie Stewart is 13 points behind me, so it's going to be harder for him. But me and Fangio really dueling for the win for the series championship next race. Vettel, down to 76 points on the season, is out. He is now eliminated from championship contention, so it's in theory just the 3 of us have a chance. Mansell, with his 4th podium in his last 5 races, and 3 in a row, has really gotten him some points. He's only 5 points behind Vettel now, up there. And then Rindt was the other person who's done well lately. He gets a 4th, which is tied for his 2nd best result on the season, all of which have happened in the last 4 races as well, as he ends up leapfrogging James Hunt as the best of the worst cars drivers. And as you can see, everything's really tiered. So the 1 stars down at the bottom, the 2 stars very much in the middle, about a 10-point gap between Alonso, who's been the worst of the 2 stars, and Rindt, who's the best of the 1 stars. And then almost a 20-point gap between Vettel, who's been the best of the 2 stars, and Jackie Stewart, who's been the worst of the 3 stars. That's something that I think I may be tweaking in future iterations, making these groupings a little closer together, I think. But in any event, it's going to be an exciting last race. We're doing 4 laps at Morgerode, which is better known as Hungaroring, which is a really tight track. In some respects similar to Nurburg, but a little bit longer, and we're doing 4 laps, so it's going to be a brutal race, and I think it plays well for Fangio. So I'm going to have my work cut out for me. So we'll see you next time.